Discover 5 terrifying tales of paranormal activity that are purportedly true and that will make you doubt reality itself. Venture into the terrifying realm of the unknown. Ever wonder what is on the other side of our comprehension? Come along with us as we venture into the darkness, where spooky sightings, strange happenings, and terrible encounters await. Will you have the courage to face the mysteries that the shadows conceal? As we explore the paranormal and discover the truth behind these terrifying stories, get ready to be enthralled. Number 5. The Amityville Horror, a haunting in Long Island. The famed Amityville Horror Mansion, located in the picturesque community of Amityville, Long Island, is a symbol of tragedy and fear. The eerie events that transpired in 1974 after the Lutz family moved into their ideal home at 112 Ocean Avenue are what gave rise to the place's negative reputation. They had no idea that their new home would soon become the center of one of the scariest paranormal instances in recorded history. Shortly after the Lutz family moved home, they began to see strange happenings, and that's when the tragedy started. The air was filled with odd smells that seemed to appear out of nowhere. Windows broke for no apparent reason, and doors closed by themselves. Strange chilly patches shivered through the halls, and shadowy figures appeared to be watching their every step. The disruptions became more frequent as the days went by, which negatively impacted the Lutz family's well-being and sanity. The Amityville horror case is linked to a gruesome crime that had happened in the house just over a year earlier, however, may be its most unsettling feature. Ronald DeFeo Jr. killed his parents and 4 brothers with brutality in their beds in 1974. Unsettling information that would later feed rumors of paranormal activity in the house came from DeFeo's accusation that voices in the house had forced him to carry out the horrible deed. The Lutz family sought assistance from paranormal investigators, including as well-known demonologists Ed and Lorraine Warren, as their nightmare went on. After looking into it, the Warrens came to the conclusion that evil spirits did, in fact, haunt the mansion. Their conclusions did little but increase public curiosity about the case, resulting in extensive media attention and the string of novels and motion pictures that cemented the Amityville Horror's place in popular culture. The Amityville Horror is still regarded as one of the most famous and terrifying paranormal incidents in history, even in light of continuous discussions concerning the validity of the Lutz family's allegations. Regardless matter whether the happenings in the house were the product of well-planned hoaxes, psychological anomalies, or actual otherworldly activity, the tale never fails to enthrall and frighten viewers around. Even now, decades later, many who venture into the dark and eerie past of the Amityville Horror still get chills just thinking about it. Number 4. The Enfield Poltergeist, terror in North London. A seemingly typical home in the peaceful Enfield, North London district became the focal point of a terrifying and mysterious phenomenon, the infamous Enfield Poltergeist case. The Hodgson family was thrown into an unfathomable nightmare in the late 1970s. As this horrifying story goes, the Hodgsons would soon encounter forces beyond their comprehension as odd and unexplainable happenings started to take place inside their house. The disruptions began very innocently enough, with a few odd knocks and bangs during the night, objects moving on their own, and furniture moving around for no apparent reason. However, as the days went by, the phenomenon became more ominous and horrifying. The Hodgson family was being tormented by evil words from unknown creatures, as beds trembled violently, furniture levitated, and voices echoed through the halls. The apparent possession of Janet Hodgson, the family's youngest daughter, was one of the most unsettling elements of the Enfield Poltergeist case. Witnesses claimed to have seen Janet levitate, speak in unidentifiable voices, and display superhuman strength, an eerie demonstration that perplexed even veteran detectives. Researchers studying paranormal phenomena from all over the world were drawn to the case and the Hodgson residence in an attempt to find solutions. One of the most fascinating and thoroughly recorded paranormal phenomena in history, the Enfield Poltergeist case has withstood doubt and criticism from doubters and detractors. It doesn't matter if one thinks the Hodgson family was the victim of well-planned pranks, psychiatric problems, or actual supernatural activity. The terror they went through was evident. The Enfield Poltergeist is still terrifying and captivating audiences decades later, acting as a terrifying reminder of the mysteries that lurk in the shadows of our reality. Number 3. The Bell Witch Haunting, a Tennessee nightmare. The eerie legend of the Bell Witch is rooted in the sleepy Tennessee town of Adams, which is surrounded by beautiful rolling hills and lush countryside. The haunting has had a profound impact on both American history and local culture. Early 19th century events known as the Bell Witch haunting tell a terrifying tale of dread, suffering, and unexplainable supernatural powers. The Bell family's farmhouse started to make unusual noises, which was a harmless beginning to the haunting. But soon enough, the disturbances became more frequent, accompanied by odd ethereal creatures that appeared to be lurking in the shadows and unexplainable sounds and scratches at the walls. These horrible events gave rise to the name Bell Witch, a malicious power that appeared determined to punish the Bell family. The apparent intelligence and malicious intent of the apparition was one of the most unsettling parts of the Bell Witch haunting. Witnesses claimed to have heard the witch make ominous remarks in disembodied voices, teasing and frightening the Bell family. But the entity wasn't only about verbal abuse. Family members and guests started to experience more frequent and brutal physical attacks. The Bell Witch haunting attracted a lot of attention and was the focus of local rumors and interest, with tales of the entity's otherworldly abilities spreading far. Its status in American legend was further cemented by the rumor that even well-known individuals like President Andrew Jackson supposedly encountered the witch when visiting the Bell property. The Bell Witch continued in spite of efforts to drive out the spirit and end the haunting, leaving a legacy of terror and doubt that still exists today. It's still up for debate whether the Bell Witch haunting was caused by well-planned pranks, psychiatric problems, or actual supernatural activity. But one thing is for sure: audiences are still enthralled and horrified by the terrifying Bell Witch story, which serves as a somber reminder of the mysteries that loom large in our world. Number 2. The Entity Case. A terrifying encounter in California. Few incidents in the history of paranormal activity are as unsettling and confusing as the Entity Case, which involved a horrifying experience that took place in Culver City, California in the 1970s. The protagonist of the tale is a lady only identified as Doris Bither, whose reports of constant attack by ghostly entities drew interest from both the general public and paranormal investigators. What started off as a string of unexplainable events quickly turned into a terrifying experience that defied logic and affected everyone who experienced it. Strange and scary things started happening in Doris Bither's small Culver City apartment before her tragedy even started. Strange smells pervaded the air, objects moved on their own, and dark creatures crept around corners of rooms. But the more the disturbances increased, the more menacing they were. Doris claimed to have felt hands seizing hold of her, holding her down, and abusing her in ways that were beyond reason and logic. Doris and her kids were living in continual fear and distress due to the horrific and unrelenting attacks. Paranormal investigators Carrie Gaynor and Dr. Barry Taff became aware of Doris Bither's predicament as word of her suffering spread. They were committed to learning the truth about the strange happenings. Beyond anything they had ever seen, they had come upon a case that appeared to defy natural rules and cast doubt on our perception of reality. They did everything in their power to explain the phenomenon, but they were unable to do so, leaving the entity case a mystery and subject to conjecture. The apparent intellect and malevolence of the creature behind the attacks was one of the most unsettling parts of the creature case. Witnesses claimed to have seen unusual apparitions and hear voices, which led some to conclude that the creature wasn't just something out of Doris Bither's mind, but a real supernatural power with its own plans. One of the most puzzling and unsettling paranormal cases ever documented is the Entity Case. Experts and fans alike disagree on whether the tragedies that befell Doris Bither and her family were the product of intricate hoaxes, psychological disorders, or real supernatural activity. One thing is for sure, though: the Entity Case is a disturbing reminder of the mysteries that exist beyond the limits of human comprehension, and the terrifying experiences that can happen when the supernatural enters our reality. Number 1. The Black Monk of Pontefract. Haunting in Yorkshire. A horrific story that has persisted through the ages is told in the charming Yorkshire town of Pontefract about a haunting that is so terrifying that it has been incorporated into local legend and folklore. Even now, the terrifying tale of the Black Monk of Pontefract holds fascination and fear for those who are interested in paranormal activity, ghostly apparitions, and unexplained events. When the Pritchard family moved into their new house on 30 East Drive in the early 1960s, that's when the haunting started. They experienced unusual and frightening happenings very immediately. Strange noises reverberated through the hallways, objects began to move on their own, and shadowy beings emerged from the shadows. However, The sight of a ghostly monk in black robes would eventually come to characterize the haunting and instill fear in the Pritchard family. Witnesses claim to have seen the black monk discreetly observing from the shadows, seemingly protecting some sinister secret. Some experience physical attacks and unexplained injuries, while others claim to feel an overpowering sense of fear in its presence. The Pritchard family endured constant dread and torture at the hands of the evil force as the haunting grew more intense. The Black Monk of Pontefract became well known and the focus of rumors and intrigue in the area. In an attempt to find answers, paranormal investigators visited the Pritchard residence, but the mystery grew stronger the longer the haunting lasted. The Black Monk left a path of destruction and terror in its wake despite efforts to purify the home and expel the monster. Those who venture into the dark and eerie past of 30 East Drive are still captivated and terrified by its ongoing haunting. It's still up for debate whether the Black Monk of Pontefract is the result of sophisticated hoaxes, psychiatric disorders, or real supernatural activity. One thing is for sure, though, the terrifying story of the Black Monk serves as a somber reminder of the mysteries that lie in wait in our world and the persistent influence of the paranormal. Join us on a journey through the most terrifying paranormal encounters and mysteries that will leave you questioning reality. Subscribe now for exclusive access to more spine-tingling stories and unexplained phenomena.